All right, welcome back to WMMA Now with your host, Chuck Sampson, and welcome to episode 97 of the WMMA Scene Report, our regular show where we go over just about everything that's going on within the world of the women's divisions of mixed martial arts. Fight reviews, fight previews, rankings updates, a little bit of everything. You name it, we're going over it. Tonight, we're going to talk about Safe Space. Weili seems she wants to have a rematch with Rose in neutral territory. We'll get into that. It's funny because I was just listening to some crusty person talk about crying basically over Rose, so it was pretty funny. Anyway, let's get started where we always get started. We're talking the weekend review. Now, before we get into that, if at any time you like the video, please give it a like, and if you haven't yet, go ahead, subscribe, and click that bell. That way you get notified anytime I go live. So we're talking the weekend review. So first up, big event, PFL 2021 number 3 went down last weekend. It was the first the first event of the 2021 season to feature the ladies of the lightweight division. And we're going to go ahead and talk about it real quick. First up, Taylor Guardado defeated Helena Kolesnik via unanimous decision. Guardado improved to 1-1. Kolesnik fell to 5-3. I think this is the only pick I got wrong on this card. Kolesnik just still has not grown as a fighter on the left there. Still very much a pure kickboxer and just hasn't, done whatever she needs to do to improve on the ground. Whereas Guardado came in and did what a wrestler does. Took her opponent down and kept her there. It's really all there was to it. Then Jenna Fabian defeated Laura Sanchez via unanimous decision. This is like a battle of the Amazons. 6-foot Jenna Fabian, 6'1" Laura Sanchez. You could even tell that Jenna Fabian is not used to fighting someone her own height or even taller, because she was just having a hard time dealing with Sanchez's height and reach. I mean, Sanchez isn't even particularly good, and Fabian was still having a hard time dealing with her, but she got the job done. Sanchez is going to be very interesting to watch. 1, because of her size. 2, her style very much reminds me of like a proto Sahi Ham with the probing lead hand. So we'll have to see what she does. And then Caitlin Young defeated Cindy Dandwa. Caitlin Young on the right there defeated Cindy Dandwa via unanimous decision. Young climbed to 12-10. Dandwa fell to 16-6. Basically, Dandwa needed to get Young down. Young needed to keep it on the feet, and that's pretty much what Young did. And then up on the main card, Larissa Pacheco defeated Yulia Pajic via KO 51 seconds of the first round. First finish of the night for the ladies. Pacheco climbed to 14-4. Pajic fell to 3-1. Not surprised by this result, really. I mean, Pacheco is just too much for Pajic at this point. And Pacheco has been putting on a lot of size in the offseason. She looks like a full lightweight now. Then co-main event of the evening, Kayla Harrison on the left there defeated Mariana Moraes via TKO due to ground and pound, minute and 23 seconds of the first round. Harrison climbed to 9-0. Moraes fell to 16-11. This was pretty much a foregone conclusion from even before the fight started. That's why I picked Harrison to win this one. They gave her the easiest matchup possible, I think. Maybe Pajic would have been easier. It's hard to say. But they definitely gave Harrison the easy fight to start off the season to get her the most points. And it worked out. And Harrison did exactly what Kayla Harrison does. She took her opponent down and pounded the snot out of her. Can't hate Kayla Harrison. A lot of people are just hating on her, calling her all hype. You know what? She goes in there and does what she has to do against the opponents that are put in front of her. So I'm not going to hate. Just not going to hate on Kayla Harrison. Judy B says, great fights in PFL. Welcome, Judy. I'm not going to hate on them. They weren't bad. They weren't bad. I mean, nothing. Nothing to be surprised about, but certainly nothing to, get mad about either, other than what I already mentioned. This was FAC number 8. I forgot to pull this one up, but hold on one sec. Technical difficulty here. FAC number 8 went down on Friday. Elle Wagman defeated Chelsea Legrasse by, I believe, unanimous decision. This was an atomweight bout. Wagman climbed to 2-0. Legrasse fell to 2-4. Wagman on the left there. Then at Luke's Fight League on Friday, number 13, Luke's 13. At strawweight, Tanny Torres defeated Yaneth Vidal via KO. Due to punches at 1 minute and 46 seconds of the first round, Torres climbed to 4-0. Vidal fell to 1-2. This is actually a rematch. Torres had beaten Vidal before, and this was the semifinal bout of the Luke's Fight League strawweight tournament. And the winner of this bout, which is Tanny Torres, now goes on to face Sarai Orozco in the finals for the inaugural Luke's Fight League strawweight title. If you haven't seen this bout, it is up on UFC Fight Pass. If you have Fight Pass, go look up Luke's Fight League 13. I don't think they've broken down the fights individually yet, but definitely go look this up. It's about halfway through the card, looks like, closer towards the end. But man, what a knockout there from little Tanny Torres, who they could have called her tiny. She's very small. But man, what a knockout. It wasn't the prettiest of sequences, but the knockout itself was very much worth watching. And then finally on Saturday night, UFC Fight Night, Rodriguez versus Watterson. Unfortunately, Amanda Hebos versus Angela Hill got canceled due to Hebos and her dad testing positive for COVID. No symptoms, but they tested positive, so they had to pull them. And then Rodriguez versus Watterson. Marina Rodriguez defeated Michelle Watterson in the main event at a flyweight bout for the two strawweights. Rodriguez climbed to 14-1. Watterson fell to 18-9. This is a darn good bout. Very good. I wasn't disappointed at all, even though I was cheering for Michelle. I thought she could have done better. I thought she could have done more, particularly in that last round. Should have tried to go back to the ground again, but very good bout. Rodriguez is going to be a problem for just about any fighter in that division standing up. Going to give them a hard night. But man, the moment she gets taken down, it's like she's like a turtle on her back. Not a good thing. So she definitely still has a lot of improvement to make on the ground game. Watterson, a lot of people weren't giving her a chance, especially at 125. But I think she very much acquitted herself and, showed the haters that, maybe actually watch the fight before you complain about it. So that was it for the weekend review for this past weekend. So let's break it down into the news here. Got Judy V. Yeah, so Dana White said something like this: too soon for Kayla in the UFC. Yeah, but this is also the guy that is the CEO of the promotion that put on Valentina Shevchenko versus Priscilla Cachoeira. So, I mean, you can say all you want that it was, referee Mario Yamasaki's fault, but that fight should have never been made. So if it's too soon for Kayla Harrison, I think basically he's saying it's too soon for her versus Amanda Nunes. It's hard to justify that it's not too soon for her in the UFC, but considering the depth or lack thereof in the UFC women's strawweight division. So anyway, let's get down into the news. First up, Deep Tokyo Impact 2021 goes down June 19th. They added 2 ladies bouts. First up, a microweight bout between Kyoka and Reina Kobayashi, and then a minus 58 kilogram catchweight bout between Marina Kumagai and Tia, literally spelled T-E-A, unless it's T-Dasha. You never know. Then next up, former Bellator flyweight Mandy Monster Baum, who has a perfect record of 7-0, has signed with the UFC. Bellator let go an undefeated flyweight out of Germany, and she signed immediately with the UFC. it blows my mind that Bellator let go an undefeated, legit flyweight prospect. I don't understand it. I mean, granted, I understand they weren't going to be going back to Europe anytime soon. That doesn't mean they couldn't use her. She's good. She's a legit prospect. But hey, let's keep pumping up Weili Zhang and fighters of that ilk. You know, fighters like that. Yeah, let's keep pumping those numbers up. Anyway, Bellator 261 goes down June 25th. A strawweight bout between Alina Ovchinnikova coming in at 12-6, and she's taking on Kira Batara coming in at 8-4. So Ovchinnikova has been fighting for them at flyweight the whole time she's been with them, but now she's going to be taking down strawweight. And Kira Batara hasn't fought since she got cut very unfairly, I think, by Combate Global, then Combate Americas at the time. So that should make for an interesting bout there. CFFC goes down. CFFC 96 goes down May 28th, and it's going to air live on UFC Fight Pass. They've added a strawweight bout. Helen Peralta coming in 3-1, taking on Laura Gallardo coming in at 3-1. So that's an Invicta vet taking on, I believe, a Combate veteran. And then the UFC strawweight bout between Amanda Hebos and Angela Hill has been moved to a fight night scheduled for June 5th. So thankfully that fight got scheduled real quick. And then Pancrase 312 goes down June 27th in Tokyo, added a strawweight bout. Ayumi Edge Saito coming in 8-7, taking on Karen Date coming in 2-0. So the most promising member of Team Date, young Karen Date, the 17-year-old, I've talked about her a few times, is going to be taking on her most experienced opponent yet, Ayumi Saito. 8-7, hasn't fought in, I believe, since 2018 and is on a 4-fight losing streak. So kind of setting up Karen Date for a win, but it's still her most experienced opponent. So, I mean, that's better than like some of the opponents that, you know, like say Valerie Lareda has been getting, or fighters like that. And then Bellator 259 goes down next weekend, May 21st. They added another ladies flyweight bout. Sumiko Inaba coming in 1-0, taking on Christina Katsikis coming in at 1-1. Before I go on, I see we got some people watching. If anytime you want to say something in the chat. And then UFC event unnamed yet for August 28th. They've added a bantamweight bout. Jocelyn Edwards taking on Zara Fan. I hope that they told Zara Fan that this is actually a bantamweight bout. It seems there was a miscommunication last time. She came in heavy for the featherweight limit. So I don't know why they scheduled her for a bantamweight bout. And then there have been some changes made to Invicta on Access TV 1, which goes down next Friday, May 21st. Invicta's first event since before the new year. Let's see. First off, canceled the 115 strawweight bout between Emily Ducote and Liz Tracy, and the bantamweight bout between Tanisha Tennant and Hope Chase. Those bouts, unfortunately, have been canceled. But they added a flyweight bout. Elise Pone making her professional debut against Chrissy Yandali, also making her her pro debut. Personally, I'll be cheering for Elise Pone. She's a fellow Pennsylvanian. Then UFC 263 goes down on June 12th. They added a bantamweight bout between Pani Kianzad and Alexis Davis. That should be a good one there. And then UFC event on July 31st added a strawweight bout. Jinyu Fry taking on Estela Nunez at strawweight. If you're not familiar with Estela Nunez, she used to fight for one championship, and then she signed with her contract ended. She signed with the UFC and immediately got busted by USADA for a banned substance. I can't even remember what it was. It was a while ago. So this is her first fight in a while, her UFC debut as well. I think Jinyu Fry is going to want to follow the same game plan she did against Gloria DePaula and try to take this one to the ground. I don't think Jinyu is going to want to mess with Estela Nunez on the feet. Then UWC 27 goes down June 11th, and it airs live on Fight Pass. A strawweight title bout. Silvana Gomez taking on Sandra Chimayo. And then Submission Underground 23 goes down May 23rd. On Fight Pass, they have a grappling bout. Raquel Canuto, Invicta veteran, taking on Jillian Robertson. Jillian Robertson filling in for Liz Tracy, who can't make it. Submission Underground loves them some Jillian Robertson. I can't say I blame them. I mean, she's a decent enough she's a good enough grappler. So we'll see how she does against BJJ black belt Raquel Canuto. And then Submission Circus 2 goes down this Sunday, May 15th. Yeah, no, Saturday, May 15th. Submission only grappling bout. Jessica Andrade going into the grappling circuit, taking on Courtney Dubois or Dubois. I'm not sure which is the right pronunciation. Very surprising to see Jessica Andrade going into a grappling bout. We're just not used to seeing her grappling, you know. In MMA, she prefers to keep it on the feet. So that one's a bit of a surprise. So that is it for the news. I'm going to bring up the rankings updates in just a second here. The only real change is in Bellator at flyweight, so I'll hurry up and bring that up. So Bellator women's flyweight. So the big change is that Mandy Baum, for whatever reason, was released from her contract. Stupid move from Bellator. And so she was at number 8. So Valerie Loreda moved up one spot from 9 to 8. Vanessa Porto moved up from 10 to 9. And Diana Avsarikova moved in to the rankings at number 10. So you have 2 people in the top 10 rankings that are 3-0. Tell me how that makes sense. I don't. Whatever. Who is on the rankings panel for Bellator? That's what I want to know. Who is on the rankings panel for Bellator? It's maddening that they do that. Anyway, let's move into the weekend preview here. Let me get rid of my little thing there. Bring this up real quick. So first up, on Friday night, LFA 107 goes down live on UFC Fight Pass. They added one bout in the ladies strawweight division. Alandria Brown on the left there taking on Shania Arredondo. Both appear to be making their pro debut, according to Tapology. Looks like Brown is 26 years old, stands 5 feet 2 inches, 157 meters tall. No information available about Arredondo. Looks like Brown is 1-3. As an amateur. Arredondo is 3-1 as an amateur. If I were a betting man, I'd say that they're looking to make something out of Arredondo. LFA is, just because we know how, or I know how LFA is, and I've talked about how LFA goes about doing things. Other than that, I'm not making a pick on that. And then Combate Global, Beltran versus Zarauz goes down Friday night in Miami. One ladies bout in the strawweight division. Yahaira Cunningham on the left there taking on Anna Palacios. Pantera Negra Cunningham coming in at 2-1. Guerrero Palacios coming in 4-1-1. Let's see. Cunningham coming off a split decision win 4 months ago. Palacios coming in off a submission win a little over a year ago. Cunningham's the elder fighter, 29-22. Cunningham stands 5'2", 157 centimeters tall. No height available for Palacios. I'm going to go with Palacios just because she has the better record. It could hurt her, that long layoff, but I'm going to go with Palacios just based on the record alone. I think I talked about this fight before for the Combate Latinas card, and this fight got canceled and moved back. So I'm guessing COVID test. Anyway, moving along to Saturday. One Dangal goes down in Singapore. It's airing Saturday. It's a pre-recorded event, but it airs Saturday morning in the U.S. First up, at a 128-pound catchweight, Ayaka Miura taking on Hyan Bastos. Miura coming in 10-3. Bastos coming in 4-0-1. Miura coming in the first loss in one championship to Tiffany Teo a little over a year ago. Bastos coming off a successful one championship debut over Savannah M, also like a year and change ago. Miura is the older fighter, 30 years to Bastos is 22. Bastos is slightly taller, 5 feet 3 inch, 160 centimeters to Miura's 5 feet 2 inch, 157 centimeters. So I'm somewhat confident in Ayaka Miura to pull this off. She has the experience. She has the skills. But Bastos is not to be trifled with either, even though she has less experience. Here's my biggest problem with picking Ayaka Miura. I read on AsianMMA.com an article or like from an interview with her. She basically is coming in, instead of like working on the areas that she hasn't worked on in her career, she said she went back after her last fight and said, well, I'm going to work even harder to get the scarf hold. I worked on more areas to get to her patented scarf hold position where she has gotten all of her submission wins in one championship. That makes me nervous because that tells me she didn't work enough on the other areas that she should have been working on. I'm a little nervous about that, but still, I'm going to go with Ayaka Miura anyway, just the experience factor. But that makes me nervous that she has not worked on what she needs to work on. That makes me really nervous. Anyway, moving along, also on that card, at one atom weight, which is like 52.2 kilograms, basically straw weight, one atom weight. Ritu, the Indian Tigress Fogat, taking on Killer B Nguyen. Ritu coming in 4-0. Nguyen coming in 5-6. Ritu, of course, undefeated. Nguyen, however, besides her debut for one championship, is on a 3-fight losing streak, all by decision. Most recently took on Gian Radzuin 4 months ago. Ritu took on Joe Marie Torres about that same time. Alicia Sassy, Illinois. I'm guessing that's Illinois. Hey, everyone, first on channel live. Well, welcome to the live stream. It goes down almost every Thursday, Alicia. Welcome, welcome. Welcome to the scene. Anyway, back to this fight. Nguyen, the elder fighter, 31 to Fogat's 27. Fogat is actually the taller fighter in this one, 5'1", 156 centimeters. Nguyen, 4'11", 150 centimeters. Okay, Nguyen has the experience factor, and she's been in with some higher level, somewhat higher level opponents than Ritu has. But man, she has been losing fights that, I thought she would have won even. I mean, well, she barely lost to Bozena Antoniar. Probably should have won that one. Stamp Fairtex, Stamp was just way bigger. Gian, that should have been more equal, I think. But she just got beat by Gian Radzuin as well. I'm going with Ritu Fogat to win this one. I mean, her stand-up has come a long way, and her wrestling is still top-notch. Her biggest problem, from what I saw, at least from her last fight, in which she showed some improved stand-up, is her transition phase. Like, she was striking and then completely stopped striking to go for to shoot the double leg. And that's a little bit worrying. But B seems to be on that downward trend. I mean, we'll see if she can stop it. Don't know. Like I said, this was pre-recorded, but I have no idea what the results are. So we'll have to see. Anyway, my pick is going to be Ritu Fogat. And then UFC 262 goes down in Las Vegas live Saturday night in the U.S. First up, a women's flyweight bout. Gina Mazzani taking on Priscilla Cachoeira. Danger Mizani coming in 7-4. Zombie Girl coming in 9-3. Both ladies are coming in off of wins. Mizani off of Rachel Ostovich, TKO 5 months ago. Cachoeira off of the devastating knockout win over Shanna Dobson a little over a year ago. Both fighters are the same age, 32 years old. Zombie Girl slightly taller, 5 feet 7 inch, 170 centimeters to Mizani's 5 feet 6 inch, 168 centimeters. And then Mizani has the longer reach, though, 68.5 inch, 174 centimeters to Zombie Girl's 65 inch, 165 centimeters. I see Mizani winning this one. She's more skilled. Not a whole lot, but she definitely has more skill than what I've seen from Cachoeira. I think as long as she doesn't stand in front of Cachoeira for too long at a time and, give Cachoeira the opportunity to throw those bombs, I think Mizani should be able to take this. So I'm going with Danger Mizani here. Then also at flyweight, all the ladies' bouts on this card are at flyweight. Angela KGB Lee taking on Antonina Shevchenko. KGB coming in 11-5. La Pantera coming in 9-2. Let's see. Lee coming off of 3 straight losses, most recently to Roxanne Modafferi 7 months ago. Shevchenko coming in off a TKO win over Ariana Lipski 5 months ago. Let's see. Shevchenko is the elder fighter, 36 to Lee's 32 years. Shevchenko is taller, 5'8", 172 centimeters to Lee's 5 feet 6 inch, 168 centimeters. Reach, however, goes to Lee, 69.5 inch, 177 centimeters to Shevchenko's 68 inch, 173 centimeters. This is a weird one for me to pick. I'm going to go with Pantera. I could easily see this turning into like a sloppy wrestling match. Because here's the thing. Pantera does not have the finishing skills on the feet. All of her wins in the UFC are all, other than the decision against Jeon Kim, her other wins in the UFC are Lucia Pudilova via submission and then Lipski on the ground. Whereas Modafferi, she lost on the ground. Chukagian lost on the ground too. She tends to go to the ground just as much as her sister, but she's not as good on the ground. KGB Lee, if she can't just wade forward on people, then she tends to go to the ground as well. I think this really comes down to who gets the takedown. I'm going to go with Antonina Shevchenko on this one. Alicia says it could easily turn into a Muay Thai fight. Yeah, it could be a slow-paced Muay Thai fight as well. I definitely would give the more skill to Shevchenko. But, yeah, we're going with Shevchenko to win this one. And then finally, on the main card, at flyweight, of course, Katlyn Chookagian taking on Viviane Araújo. Blonde fighter coming in 15-4. Vivi coming in at 10-2. Chookagian coming in off a win over Cynthia Calvillo via decision 5 months ago. Before that, had the loss to Jessica Andrade. Araújo on a 2-fight run. First over Montana De La Rosa, and then over Roxanne Modafferi. Araújo, the elder fighter, 34 to Chookagian's 32. Chookagian, much taller fighter, 5'9", 175 centimeters to Vivi's 5'4", 163 centimeters. Interestingly enough, the reach is even, 68 inch, 173 centimeters. Araújo has like super long arms. She's just got arms all the way up, like practically down to her knees. Super long-limbed. So how does this fight go? Here's my problem with Araújo. She's very athletic, and she's explosive. And as long as she can use that against her opponents, she's doing good. The minute she can't, she starts faltering. And there's no bigger example than her loss to Jessica Ai. I mean, Jessica Ai beat her using the most basic of fundamentals. And Araujo just could not out-athlete Jessica Ai. She couldn't, use her explosiveness against Jessica Ai. And I think that's going to haunt her here because Katlyn Chookagian is more than willing enough to keep this on the outside and pepper Araujo with strikes on the outside for 15 straight minutes. And Araujo, if she can't get inside with her looping hooks, she has a decent jab, but I just have a hard time seeing Araujo dealing with that. And I have a hard time seeing her getting inside for her takedowns as well with that reach advantage going to Chookagian. So I'm going to go with Katlyn Chookagian to win this one. So that is it for the weekend preview. I'm sorry, there is one more. There's a Shooto event on Sunday, and this is actually important for something I'm going to talk about later. Let me bring up the Shooto event real quick here. Shooto 2021 Volume 3 goes down Sunday in Tokyo, Japan at Korakuen Hall. First up, a strawweight bout. Momoka Hosuyama taking on Norika Ryu. Both fighters making their pro debut. Looks like they're the same height, 5'4", 162 centimeters. Looks like Ryu is taller is 1 year the elder, 27 to 26. I can't make a pick on this one. The next three bouts are easier, though. The next three bouts all take place at Shooto's super atomweight 110-pound division. Looks like they're trying to get that division back up and running after largely not doing too much with it last year. After crowning a champion, of course. First up, Yuki Ono coming in 1-1, taking on Chihiro Sawada coming in, making her pro debut. Looks like, wow, Yuki Ono much elder. 15 years the elder, 38 to 23. She's the taller fighter as well, 5 feet 4 inch, 162 centimeters to 4'11", 150 centimeters for Sawada. I'm going to go with Yuki Ono just based on actually having some pro experience alone. Yep, 110 pounds. That's what they're calling their super atomweight division in Shooto. Rizen's is like 108 pounds. Shooto's calling theirs 110 super atomweight. Then next up, Miku Nakamura taking on Kyu Kitano. Nakamura coming in 3-4. Kitano coming in 3-2-1. Nakamura on a 2-fight skid, most recently lost to Itsuki Hirata a little over 2 months ago. Kitano coming off a draw a year and a half ago to Yoki Hirata. Kitano is 10 years the elder, 39 to 29 for Nakamura. She's the taller fighter as well, 5'5", 164 centimeters to Nakamura's 5'2", 157 centimeters. I'm going to go with Nakamura to come back and pick up a win here and even up her record. From what I've seen against Kitano, I mean, she lost to Megumi Sugimoto. Yeah, Kitano's only wins, two of her 3 wins, she beat a 500 fighter and then Satomi Hirose, who was making a pro debut. I'm going to go with youth over age here and go with Miku Nakamura. And then finally, Megumi Sugimoto taking on Mikiko Hayama. Sugimoto coming in 5-3. Hayama coming in at 0-7. Sugimoto on a 2-fight skid, having lost to Mina Kurobi and then Satomi Takano. Hayama, of course, obviously hasn't tasted victory yet. Hayama, 42 years to Sugimoto's 30. They stand the same height, 5'3", 160 centimeters. Obviously, I'm going with Megumi Sugimoto to win this one. Yeah. Sugimoto's obviously getting set up for a win here. So that is it for the weekend preview. So let's talk about the discussion topic here. Safe space, Weili. There she is in her safe space. This is from an article from MMAmania.com, which is based off of an interview that Weili Zhang did. And it also takes from an interview that her coach did as well. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and read off this whole article here real quick. Credit goes to Ryan Harkness, MMAmania.com. When Zhang Weili and Rose Namajunas faced off at UFC 261 last month, people were expecting a knockdown, drag-out war. Instead, the fight ended just a minute and 18 seconds into the first round after Namajunas faked going downstairs before unloading a perfect head kick that flattened Zhang. A quick follow-up of ground and pound forced the referee to stop things, and let me tell you, Zhang was not happy with the stoppage immediately after. Now back home in China with a bit of time to digest the loss and shape her head, Zhang appeared in a live stream interview to discuss the fight. Quote, regarding the stoppage, when the referee pulled me away, I really couldn't accept the fact, Weili said. I was not reconciled at all. I worked hard for a long time, and I trained very hard every day. And I brought a big team of mine to America, yet the match ended this early. Deep inside, I couldn't accept this fact. Okay, so obviously she's having a hard time dealing with the loss. I don't blame her. 17 seconds? Yeah. Anyway, it was a quick loss. That's kind of hard to deal with when you travel all that way. Anyway, let's go back on. Quote, it's because I put in so much effort to prepare for this fight, and it was very tough for me every day. But because of one misjudgment that I made, I thought she was doing a low kick, and I had a defense for the low kick, but she made a high kick instead. And it was very sudden, very quick. And it's not like we went for 3 rounds and she overpowered me, or even after 1 round, if she overpowered me and I lost, then I would admit that my skills weren't as good. But this one is really, I didn't have a chance to show what I've got, so I felt wrong. Okay, so that's what happens in a fight, though. I mean, Rose took advantage of an obvious open, weakness, studied her opponent very well, and used it against her. So, back to the article. It says, UFC 261 was the first UFC event to be held in a packed arena since the coronavirus hit in March 2020, so there was a rowdy Jacksonville, Florida crowd that was all in on Thug Rose. They didn't hesitate to boo Zhang, and that seemed to shake her a bit. Quote, last fight with Joanna, even though she trained in America, she is an American, she explained, so we were quite equal, and neither of us got any boos. But this time, because Rose is from America, and Florida is a bit like that, so when I showed up in the event, wow, the boos were really loud. It was really my first time experiencing the situation, and I didn't expect it to be so serious. All right, I'm going to cut it right there for a second. Okay, booing is a part of sports. Period. You're going to have times when your crowd is going to be cheering for you. You're going to have times when the crowd is going to be booing for you. As a professional athlete, you just have to learn to put that aside as a distraction and put that on the periphery of your mind, or even just blot it out completely. Okay. Kamaru Usman was able to do it, just put it completely outside his mind. And he even said that, he dances through the ring so that it helps him relax and deal and put aside any outside distractions. That's just part of being a professional athlete. You're not always going to get the crowd on your side, particularly when you go to a different country and you're fighting against that country's fighter. That's just how it is. But I want to talk about, she said Florida is a bit like that. I want to know who coached her to say that. Obviously, somebody told her that, okay? Somebody told her that Florida is a bit like that, because how would she know? She's never been to Florida before. As far as I can tell, she's never been there before. So how would she know that Florida is like that, or like that? Okay, first off, that audience was maybe half Floridian. People traveled from all over the U.S. to go to that event. It was the first event that allowed a crowd back. So you can't really say it was all Florida because people came from all over the country. And second of all, let's stop acting like, I hate when people basically stereotype an entire state like that. Okay? Florida isn't even mostly Floridians. Like, natural born Floridians are like maybe half the state at most. There's more people, transients from other states than there are Floridians most of the time. So stop saying this crap about Florida, okay? It's actually a good state. I don't live there. I've been there twice. I had family that lived in Florida. I really hate the negative stereotypes it gets, considering that it's mostly trashy tourists going there anyway, or trashy people from other states that move to Florida. I mean, you go to Tampa Bay area, you're not going to go to a government office and go without hearing a New York accent. And that's nothing against New Yorkers either. It's just I hate the way people stereotype Florida like that. Anyway, back to the article. Quote, even if she had 70% of the audience on her side and just a small amount on my side, it wouldn't have been that loud, she continued. When my music started playing, even before I showed up, it was really loud. And so I couldn't even hear what the referee or coach said. End quote from her. Then her coach, Zhu Kai, and I hope I said that right, also stepped into the interview to share his thoughts on the boos. And I agree with Alicia. Her coach, or probably her manager, was behind her saying that. I think Weili performed quite well in the beginning, he said. There was a huge psychological disadvantage fighting amongst a hostile crowd, so Weili wanted to relax more and be less nervous. But when she tried, she didn't relax. Instead, she lost focus. So at that moment, she was actually not fully there. So I would say Weili wasn't focused enough. We wanted her to be in her vacuum of focus from the moment of her entrance, but we let the boos overwhelm us. I want to emphasize that we are not making any excuses regarding the loss. Zhang said later. Okay, Zhang said that. We accept the result. I am not talking about the boos, the location, and the uncertainty of who I'll face, not because I am making excuses for my loss. We are just discussing the problems encountered. So if people think I'm making excuses, that's not the case. Well, okay. It certainly sounds like the coach is making excuses. Zhang might say she's not making excuses, but her coach is certainly making the excuses. So I'm sorry. The boos had nothing to do with her having a huge defensive hole that was super exposed in her fight with Wmma, and that Rose and her team studied, saw it, and took advantage of it. That's just the fight game. Look, you study your opponent, you work on those things in camp, and then you use them in a fight. Rose did it. Now, was Zhang doing good up to that moment? Yeah, she was. But the fact is, she relied on something that she relied on too much before, left her guard down, left her face exposed, left her head exposed, and got knocked out with the kick. That's all there is to it. The boos, I'm sorry, the boos had nothing. You can say that all you want. Maybe it did affect her, but guess what? The boos didn't cause that hole in your fighter's game, Coach Zhu Kai. The boos didn't leave a hole in your fighter's defense. I'm sorry. That's just garbage. And then Judy says, if the fight were held in China, I'm sure the crowd would boo Rose. Then again, China's more polite. Well, there were boos for Jessica Andrade when she fought there. I just watched the beginning of that fight, or I watched the whole fight earlier. And they weren't as loud, but there was some boos there. Anyway, back to the article. Quote, Zhan, we are also waiting for the second fight, she said. Depends on the schedule. Ideally, we would like it to be held in Abu Dhabi. This location is neutral to both parties, but now Rose is the champion, so it might not be up to us. The table has been turned. As for her feelings on Rose, which seemed pretty positive up until Namajunas kicked her in the face, quote, I don't want to comment on Rose, Zhan said. I wanted to touch gloves with her in the fight, but she didn't do it. So I think I wanted to make friends through MMA, but blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I want to talk about the hoping that the fight is held in Abu Dhabi. Obviously, that's where I get the safe space from. She wants to fight in neutral territory. That's not up to you. That's up to the UFC. The UFC decides who fights when and where. And frankly, you know what? If you want to be a champion, you got to get used to fighting in hostile environments. Okay, Rose went to Brazil to defend against Jessica Andrade, and then Jessica Andrade went to China to defend against Zhang. Guess what? Going into hostile territory is just a part of being a champion. You want to be a champ, you got to fight in hostile territory sometimes. A champion goes wherever is necessary to make the fight and to make bank. Okay, Muhammad Ali fought all over the world. He fought in the Philippines against a non-Filipino fighter. He fought in Japan against a non-Japanese fighter. He fought in Africa against a fellow American fighter. Muhammad Ali traveled everywhere. He fought everywhere, fought everyone. That's what a champion is. I'm sorry. I can't stand this. Oh, I don't want to fight in the U.S. again, or I don't want to fight here or there. Do I think the fight's going to happen in the U.S. again? Yeah. I think Rose, as a champ, is going to use her leverage to say, I'm not fighting outside of the U.S., and most of the events are going to be held in the U.S. now anyway. I see Fight Island mostly going to probably start to go away, because now that events with crowds are going to be held, there's no need to go back to Fight Island. So we'll see. I mean, maybe the U.S. will do that for Zahn, or the UFC will do that for Zahn. We'll have to see. But for me, I'm sorry. She earned the nickname now. She's safe space Weili. She's there in her safe space, you know. Bulletproof windows, troll safe doors. In my safe space. Alicia says, Rose touched gloves with her when they talked, but when one touched gloves for a second time, when they first started fighting, is when Rose was like, no, touch gloves with her. So that's right. She shook her hands before the fight. I can't remember if they did the glove touch when the referee had him in the middle. After that, if you don't touch gloves when a referee gives you opportunity, then there's no point after that. I don't agree with the whole, oh, let's touch gloves after the bell starts. No, that's when you're supposed to be fighting. Yeah, that's really all I wanted to talk about with Safe Space Weili was, you know, boo-hoo on the booing and boo-hoo on the safe space. That's just a part of the fight game. And you got to learn to deal with that. You got to have a stronger mental space. I read this book once. I like to play pool. I play in an 8-ball pool league on Monday nights. And I read this really good book about the psychology of pool playing. It's called The Pleasures of Small Motions. And it's written by a psychiatrist who plays pool. And he talks about, you know, you learn when you're at the pool table, you're down on your shot, and you have to learn how to like recognize the distractions and then put them on the periphery. So like if you're at a bar and you're playing and someone walks around the pool table, you've got to learn, okay, recognize it as a distraction and then put it to the periphery. That's what you got to do with boos as a fighter. You know, you got to take the crowd booing, boo, and just like, okay, they're booing me. It's outside. It's something you just got to deal with. I mean, some fighters really work with the crowd when they cheer. Some fighters really, you know, play off against the boos. Like Kamaru Usman used it against the crowd and tore into Jorge Masvidal. And then straight up said, hey, boo me all you want. I knocked out your boy. You just got to learn to you just got to learn to deal with it, whether put it on the periphery or turn that into energy and use that in the fight. It's just something you got to deal with as a pro. If you're going to be a champion and go into hostile territory, that's just something you got to deal with. It's something you got to deal with as a fighter, period. Go down to Brazil and face a Brazilian fighter. Guess what? You're going to get booed, and you're going to get told, Wmma, or however it's said, which is you're going to die. You're going to die. That's something the Brazilians do to every non-Brazilian fighter who faces a Brazilian fighter. And they do it to the Brazilian fighters who take on the more favored Brazilian fighter. So that's something you got to deal with. So they did touch when the ref said, okay, what does the referee say? If you want to touch gloves, do it now. So that's when you got to do it. And then Weili was asked again. Ref said, no, because you already touched gloves. I hate that. You touch gloves at the start, then don't touch gloves after the bell. Some fighters have said they're nervous while walking in, but then put everything behind to win the fight. Yeah. A great example is Georges St. Pierre. Dude got sick before every fight. Has been very public about his anxiety and ended up going to a sports psychologist and working it out, but still got sick before every fight. And then come fight time, boom, he's ready to go. Or Carla Esparza. Every fight she's in, if you're in like a play-by-play thread or a play-by-play thing, everyone always says, oh, she looks nervous or she looks shook. And then she comes out and performs. Guess what? She says she is nervous right up until the start of the fight. Nerves are something you just got to deal with. So that's all I really want to talk about Safe Space Weili. A couple more things I want to talk about before the video ends. Some odds and ends here. I think all fighters love the crowd and get booed or let's go. Yeah. So Luke's Fight League has started a 125-pound tournament. The first fight went down last Friday at Lux 13 between Elizabeth Rodriguez and Jessica Ortega, with Elizabeth Rodriguez, moving on to the semifinals. The next two quarterfinal bouts are going down at Luke's 14, and then the final quarterfinal bout goes down at Luke's 15. Obviously, they've been doing this with their strawweights as well. They have the strawweight tournament. It's already moved on to the final round between Soraya Orozco and Tani Torres. They're going to do it for 125 pounds, the flyweights, and they'll be crowning a flyweight champion. So this should be very interesting as well. From what I've seen, looked up so far on the records, they're much like the strawweight records. They're not that great. Luke's I still think they're a high quality regional promotion though. They put on regional level fights, but the production and everything is very high quality. And they're on Fight Pass on Friday nights when they air. So that's something to look forward to. Also, One Empower goes down later this month. One Championship put up this little bit of artwork. Basically, they just took the photos and like rotoscoped it or artworked it out. I like this very much. It's very pretty. It has all the fighters there. You got the main event. Seong Jin-nan versus Michelle Nicolini. Got the kickboxing bout. Anissa Mexen versus her opponent, whose name escapes me. And then you got the atomweight quarterfinal bouts for the Grand Prix. I cannot wait for this Grand Prix to get started. I have 3 out of the 4 quarterfinal bouts previewed already. I did Hirata versus Elise Anderson, Stamp versus Rasohina 2, and Zambawanga versus Ham, what I just posted late last night. So please go check those out as well. Fogat versus Monbo, if that bout goes off as scheduled, we'll have to see after this weekend at one Dangal when Fogat fights B. Nguyen. If the result goes as expected and Ritu Fogat wins, then I will do the Fogat versus Monbo preview as well sometime next week. And then I'll try to drop the Seong versus Nicolini preview as well. And then the week of the event, I plan to do like a full event preview, like a much more condensed version of it. Lish says you haven't heard of these guys. Well, you got to start watching some One Championship. You are missing out. Most of their events, so they just did the one on TNT series. They were aired on TNT on cable in the U.S. During prime time. The next event is one Dangal. It goes down live on, if you're in the U.S., you should be able to watch it via Bleacher Report, either on their YouTube channel or or Bleacher Report Live, I should say. BR Live, either on their YouTube channel or via the BR Live app, which is free to download and free to watch. And then One Empower goes down May 28th on a Saturday morning. No, Friday morning. And that should be a good one. I tentatively scheduling a live fight companion for that as well on the 28th. So that should, we'll have to see. Anissa Mexen, I think is the main fighter. Sorry, I said it Mexen. Supposed to say, yeah, it looked like you're getting auto-corrected there. It's actually Mexen, M-E-K-S-E-N, for anyone unfamiliar. Judy said she made her picks early in the chat. I saw that and I skipped over it because I wanted to go back later. So she's picking Zamboanga, Stamp, Itsuki, and Ritu. Don't know yet. Jingnan versus Nicolini. So I saw your comment earlier, Judy, on my Ham versus Zamboanga preview. I'm going to send you some links in a reply to that comment. I'll try to send you some fights of Sahi Ham so that you can check them out and then come back. Anissa from France. Yeah, she is French. And her opponent is, I believe, also European. Anissa Mexen is from France. And Martine, I believe it's pronounced Micheletto, is from Italy. And from what I understand, like, she hasn't really delved into kickboxing too much, but she is a pretty good kickboxer or Muay Thai fighter, and probably one of the better Muay Thai fighters to move over that they could bring over for Anissa. This is at strawweight, so that's 125 pounds in one championship. Wow, you saw 5 Ham fights. You did your homework. I'm proud of you, Judy. Good for you. Did your homework. Still picking Denise, though, I'm guessing. Anyway, so that's it for I want to talk about for one championship. I believe this is the final note I have. Yes. So tomorrow night, I'm going to make an official announcement video, but I am announcing that this weekend, starting on Sunday, with Shudo and their super atomweight bouts going all the way through June 20th with Deep Jules 33. It's going to be International Atomweight Month. There's just a bevy of atomweight fights going on. Over the next, like, little over more than a month. It's like a month and 5 days. And I think it is important that this get, highlighted. So actually, I guess it starts Saturday with one Dangal with Fogat versus B. Nguyen. So we have a whole bunch of atomweight bouts going on, and I'm going to make a whole month-long event out of it. I'm going to, make the official announcement video tomorrow. I'm going to, update it as everything goes on. I plan on doing at least one giveaway contest. I have a Lindsay Van Zant shirt. She's there in the bottom right-hand corner there. I'm going to be giving away one of her shirts that I purchased. Going to do a contest for that. It's going to be a pretty fun month with a lot of atomweight bouts. And now some of these aren't technically atomweight. They're atomweight, like the one championship bouts that are fought at 115. But when you have some of the best legit atomweight fighters on the planet for taking part, like you have Sahi Ham, who's like number 1. You got Elise Anderson was moving over from legit atomweight. Alicia Zappatella defending her title next Friday at Invicta FC against is it Delboni? Yeah, Delboni. You got Shudo this Sunday with the super atomweights at 110. There is an atomweight title fight also going down in early June at Double G FC 7. Yaron Hong taking on Park. Her opponent's name is Park. Let me look it up real quick. That goes down June 5th. Bo Yun Park taking on Yerin Hong. Both fighters are 3-1 for the inaugural Atomweight Championship for Double GFC. So there's just a whole, and then finally, you know, on June 20th, we have the Deep Jewels Atomweight Grand Prix, the semifinals and finals to crown the new Deep Jewels Atomweight champion. There could be a lot of atomweight action going on in over the next month and change. So boom, it's going to be International Atomweight Month. And if you don't follow me on Twitter, which you should, I have my screen name right below here, @NowWMMA on Twitter. I'm going to be updating it all the time with hashtag. I might change it before tomorrow. It's going to be something to do with International Atomweight Month or Atomweight Month. I might just make it like Atom WT Month, something like that. We'll see. The video will be coming out sometime tomorrow night for the official announcement for International Atomweight Month. So keep an eye out for that. That's really all I have. I went like a full hour. I'm amazed I could talk for that long and just talk about whatever for that long. But I'm really excited about this next month for the Atomweight. So it should make for a fun month. Anyway, that's really all I have for tonight. We've got some people in chat here. Like I said earlier, if you haven't yet, please give a like. Welcome to Alicia to the scene. She's new. If you haven't yet and you're watching, please subscribe. We only got 1 like so far. Come on, hit that like button, please. It helps the algorithm and helps get the video viewed more. So definitely keep an eye out for the International Atomweight announcement tomorrow sometime. Anyway, that's all I have for tonight. Let me know your thoughts on anything we discussed. If you're watching on playback, in the comments down below. Like I was just saying, give the vid a like. And while you're at it, what are you waiting for? Subscribe to WMMA Scene Now, the most complete women's mixed martial arts dedicated platform on YouTube. And when you hit subscribe, hit the bell as well. That's the real subscription button. Judy V says, thank you again. Well, thank you for watching, Judy. Till the next, and nice chatting, Alicia. So yeah, that's all I have. Like I said, like, subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.